And I, she's right here with me, we're going to do this piece of yegg, and it's pink, and it's pretty cubical, so we're going to do a square design on it. I want to maintain as much of the volume of the stone as possible. So we're going to do a square design. We're not going to access any particular pattern or anything here. We're just going to do square. We're going to square it off. We're going to put 16 facets on the bottom for acrylic facets, but we're going to treat this quartz angles for 154. We're going to put 16 facets, and we're probably going to go at 44 right there. And I don't have to bring it all the way to a point. So just get her close to a point here, because then we're going to turn around and we're going to do, oh, you're in the way, Riley. We're going to do 8 more culet facets at 42 in the point here. So we just do every other one here. We do 8 culet facets and bring them down to make our point. So we're going to first start with the mains and the 16 of them, and we're going to go 44. So we'll do that first. Well, let's get started. Alright, so far we've squared this off. I put a 180 grit plate on, I squared it off, and I cut down the bulk on 4 sides to a culet point. Then I switched to a 600 grit plate, and I put 16 facets on there. These are the mains, actually. Then what I did after that is I went to the sides and I cleaned up the sides with the 600, and then I cut the corner facets down to where they meet the edges of the first facet on the corner. What that does, it leaves you a little bit of rise here, so you don't have a straight girdle. So I'm going to go back now and put a 1200 grit plate on, and I'll go back over these main facets again, smooth them down. I'll go back over the 4 sides and the corners. Once I get that done, I will go to the sides and I will put the burying facets on there. We're going to go to about 58 degrees, and we're going to cut a facet on the side which will come down and straighten out our girdle line. And once we get that one cut, then I can go back to 42 degrees and I'll cut 8 culet facets. So that's where we're going. We're going to get the 1200 grit plate on and start smoothing that out a little bit. The cut will start up here and keep working its way down and wider until we get down to an even line between the corner facets. So that's what we're working towards. It's a little smaller here, and it's just going to get bigger and wider and work its way down until it meets the corners. That way we'll have a nice straight girdle line. Alright, we have all of our facets on the culet shaped out, and we're at 1200 grit. I seem to be having a problem focusing properly here. So at this point we're going to switch to pre-polish. And I'm actually going to cut those culet facets in, those 8 culet facets, on a pre-polish. Well, I finished the pre-polish on my first set of mains. I did 16 main facets here in pre-polish, and then we're at 44 degrees. I used a 8000 grit plate, or I used a plate with 8000 grit diamond on it. Now I'm going to cut in some culet facets. I've got 16 mains, and I'm going to cut in 8 culet facets. I'm going to use the 8000 grit, but I'm going to go between, I'm starting on 3, I'm going to go cut in 8 of them. So I'm going to go 3, and then I'm going to jump to 15, and then to, let's see, whatever else it is here. I'm going to go every 12 here, so I'm going to put 8 of them. Start 3, so I'm between them. So that's where we're starting here first. We're going to cut them in. I'm going to bring them down close to this burying facet here, and then I will cut the first one to get my size, and then I will cut all the way around so they're the same size. So that's where we're at right now. Well, I have the pavilion facets pre-polished to 8,000 grit. This is a good time to get your splash pan off and get that cleaned up. Get your machine cleaned up so you don't transfer any junk to your stone. And what I'm going to do now is I'm using a tin lap, and I've got 50,000 grit, and I'm going to polish with that. So I'm all set up. The first ones are going to polish are going to be the mains at 44 degrees. We got 16 of those. Then I will go back to 42 degrees and do the culet facets. Well, Riley, you ready to go? She's ready. Oh, you hear that? Let's get to it. All right. I have the 8 culet facets cut in. I did that with the 8,000 grit on that plate. I dropped it, see, because I had my mains at 44, so I dropped 2 degrees for these culet facets to 42. We got those cut in. The next step now is I'm just going to go on to the burying facets here on the side. I got the 4 on the side at 58 degrees. I'm going to pre-polish them, and then I will go to the girdle facets and I will pre-polish them. So that's where we're heading now. We're all polished up on the pavilion here, and we're ready to transfer. We've got a cone dop here. Going to put this into and put it on our jig, and when that glue is hardened up, we can start the crown. Well, we have our first set of main facets roughed out on this yag on the table. We started at 42 degrees, and we did 4 sides, 96, 24, 48, 72. And then, see, when you get down close to that girdle, you can adjust your cheater just a little bit if you have to. And I did just a little bit to make sure you've got a nice straight line. And then one more way to check that is you go to your corner facets and you knock them down. And if you meet nice and true on each side, you know you've got it set. Otherwise, hopefully you've left room to adjust this a little more. But we're looking good right there. So I got the first set done and the corners done. By the way, the corners, I jump up to the next set. I'm going down 7 degrees on each facet, so I got 42 here, so I went to 35 and did the corners. Now 35 will also be the next set of mains, so you don't have to change that. So we'll do the next set of mains, and then we'll go down another 7 degrees to 28, and we'll do the corners on the second set, and then the 28 will also be the mains on the third set. So let's keep going. Here you can see we're working on the corners here on the second facet. I'm going to start cutting here and work it all the way down to where it meets the corners on these 2 facets. Now you need to make sure you cut a little and look a lot, because this is going to go very quickly. You be very gentle on the wheel there. So let's continue on. Well, we've got our pink yag all polished up on the crown, except for the table. I'm about ready to put it in the tabling jig here. Cut the table. Riley's settled down for a little nap here. She figures I've got this covered, so she's going to take a nap and relax. Yep. Okay, that's where we're going. Well, here it is. It's pink YAG. Yttrium aluminum garnet. I do not know if I am pronouncing that correctly, but it has the properties of garnet. It's 8.5 hardness, 1.83 refractive index, so it makes a nice gemstone. This cut is a square cut. I started out with actually started with the culet facets. No, I started with the main facets. I put 16 mains at 44 degrees, and then I backed up and did 8 culet facets at 42 between them. And then on the sides we put a bury-in cut there to give us a nice straight girdle line. The top of the crown is a step cut. Start at 42 degrees and put 4 main facets on, 96, 24, 48, 72. Then I did the first corners at 35. And then the second set of mains at 35 also. And I jumped to 28 and did the corners to go with the second set of mains. And then this third set of mains were at 28 also. Then I had to end up going to 21 to do the last 4 corner facets. And then the table. Turned out pretty nice. We're going to clean it up here a little bit and put it on the turntable and see what it looks like.